All right, I want to talk to you about the number one reason that people fail. And this is actually a really simple reason. It's that they don't finish. They quit halfway through, they change priorities, they come up with something else that needs to be the most important thing all of a sudden. They get shiny object syndrome and they chase after some other thing that's not as exciting or as new, and they don't follow through on the initial plan. That's actually ironic. I'm wearing this shirt, keep going, uh, because the simple fact is all you need to do to succeed is keep going. Setbacks happen, keep going. Something comes up, keep going. I want you to actually, below this, there's a document that's going to show you an exercise that you can do where you're going to think of all the possible reasons that you could quit, and then you're going to commit to keep going anyway. So it could be that something comes up like an injury. So maybe it's a knee or a low back issue or a shoulder, whatever it is, there might be an issue that comes up. I want you to commit to keep going anyway. So you're going to modify around the injury. Of course, you're not going to go in and aggravate that injury, but you're going to keep going on your plan. And even if that means it takes 10 weeks instead of 8 or 12 weeks or 16 weeks, you're going to, again, keep going. I want you to think about something coming up with work. So stuff gets super hectic. Maybe you go completely off track for a week because life is just really hard right now. Maybe you get overwhelmed. Maybe you're in week 1, you're getting overwhelmed, or maybe something crazy happens in life and you get overwhelmed in week 3. Again, commit to keep going. Don't commit to perfect. That's impossible. Commit to keep going no matter what, to making a commitment to yourself, a commitment to us that you are going to keep persevering, that you are going to keep going, even if it's at 10% effort through whatever difficulty arises. If you do not, obviously you will not succeed. But more important than this, you're going to be repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. I can't count how many people that we've seen where they'll come in for a program, they decide that 3 weeks in or 6 weeks in or whatever kind of short duration, maybe even 1 week in, that they've changed their mind. Something else has come up, they have to do this other thing. And then they go do it, and then they're back in 6 months, or we see them at another gym in 6 months. And then they're repeating the cycle over years and years and years. And if you look back at your own history, you might be able to recognize whether you have a pattern of this. Maybe it's not in fitness, maybe it's in another area of your life. Almost all of us do this in some area of life. And those are usually the areas of our lives that we struggle with. It's because we go from one thing to another, and we don't keep consistent priorities. In week 6, we've got all of our values and priorities exercises, and this is a big piece of that, is making sure that if health and fitness is important to you, it's always a priority. Some weeks you might only do 5 minutes of workouts. Some weeks you might eat 2 really good meals, and you might go out for fast food because you're just exhausted and you don't have the mental strength to get something else. Or there's other times where you just feel like fast food and that's what you go and get that night. And that happens, it's part of life, and it's not even necessarily something you should feel guilty about. Because again, this is about being imperfect but consistent. It's about keeping going. It's not about perfection. It's about that commitment to prioritize your health and fitness and to not bail out the second things get hard, to not bail out as soon as things get difficult on an emotional level or in other areas of your life. It's committing to keeping going, maintaining some level of effort no matter what, and not just viewing it as this all or nothing. I'm either doing it fully or I'm not doing it at all. The great analogy for this is the analogy of slashing tires, where if you are driving your car and you get a flat tire, you get out, your trip is delayed, you don't just turn around and go back. You don't just get out, grab a knife and stab all your other tires and flatten them all. You get out, you take that delay, you call a tow truck or CAA, or you change the tire yourself, and then you keep going. And it's slower, and you had a setback, but you keep going and you get to your destination. If you do any of those other things though, then you don't get to your destination. And that's what this is all about. It's about getting that consistent values alignment so that the things that are important to you, so when you say in 20 years, I want to be healthy, that you've done this persistence thing. Forget about the next 8 weeks. I want you thinking 20 years from now, how am I going to be consistent across that entire time to some degree? Not perfect, again. How am I going to be consistent? Think about what it's going to take to be consistent through that time, and of course have periods of increased effort, of concentrated effort. but don't just switch plans or don't just back out whenever things get difficult.